don't have to, but they're protected by ADA law, which is kind of hypocritical, don't you think? No, I know, there's a lot of things that are being discussed right now, we're meeting with a lot of legislators over to see what we can do, but right now, we have been told there is nothing we can do. This was the first step that was actually passed at the legislature, and we're going to move forward. It's a lot of organizations banding together to try to figure out what we can do.
And yeah, I think we answered that question. We're already in Tallahassee, Washington, and people can say, why are you traveling so much? But there is a need. We need to be there. We have an old friend from West Palm Beach that said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So we're definitely at the table on your behalf. And there are really bad. We had a young man that was found in a garbage can a couple months ago. That was a young man from Jersey, and his family sent him here to get help, and he didn't get the help he needed. On J Street, we had somebody OD on property. I can see someone coming for the help and ODing somewhere else, but he OD'd on property. So there are bad locations, but there is no recourse at this point. You'll see a lot of the insurance companies are pulling out. I think that's going to cut them off at the knees, because that's where the money comes from. But on a local level, we're fighting for some home rule, so we actually have some teeth to actually move forward.
I'm glad we go to Tallahassee to talk and see what we can do to fix this problem. Like I say, these people need help, but another thing, if you keep paying to put somebody in these homes, they might not want to get the help. They got to hit bottom first, and it's just a big problem. We still can't fix it.
I think if petitioning the state and the feds is a way to make the bad solar homes go away, then we need to petition the state and the feds. I've worked with the federal government on getting regulations passed in the past, so I think that would be something I could definitely do.
As I mentioned a moment ago, Lois Frankel has proposed some legislation in Washington that basically does two things. Number one, provides a patient bill of rights, which I think Andy has spoken to and I've spoken to in the past. Nobody should have the opportunity to lure somebody in or have somebody come into your business, which is a solar home, and for whatever reason they break the rules, your insurance runs out, or mom and dad stop paying, and then toss you to the curb.
Yeah.
That is wrong as sin. That is one part of Lois Frankel's legislation. The other part of the legislation, which more directly answers the question, is it gives us home rule authority at the local level to create zoning for solar homes. Get before office, pledge your support, write letters to the editor, etc., etc., etc. At the Tallahassee level, I've been working for 5 years on the solar home issue. Okay, 5 years. We almost got it 3 years ago. We finally got something last year. So it's a struggle. The camel goes under the tent. It's something to hang on to.
Time. Of course, I'd be more than happy to go up there and discuss with them and see what solutions we can come up with. It is a serious problem. One of the issues that I've been campaigning for is to bring safety to our neighborhoods and to invest in our neighborhoods, not whether it's infrastructure, safety, and various other items. But again, this is going to be a thing that is going to need to be done on a state level, federal level, and I would be more than happy to go up there and fight with that. Thank you.
Okay, next question. Concerning the new ordinance passed making it illegal to be on city property, will we be arrested going to our cars after this meeting?
No, and again, that's just part of, not understanding. It's not about the person going to their car. It's not about the person walking through the park. It's about the bad person, the illegal drugs, the pedophiles, the children that don't feel safe in the parks. If you're walking to your car and you're getting in your car and you're going home, there's not an issue. But if you're getting in your car and smoking crack, there's a problem. So, you need to really look at the ordinance. There's times involved, just like every other time for every other public space, not only in Florida, but all over the United States. Cities and municipalities have times that, the parks close, the public space is closed, because it's about the safety.
I'm pretty sure you won't. If this ordinance is about safety, so things like shooting heroin, smoking crack, pedophilia, prostitution, those things are already illegal. If I went to the park at noon and I shot up heroin, I'd probably get arrested. This law does not change that at all. This law takes public places and turns them into parks so that they can have opening and closing hours. And I would love for a child to feel safe walking through a park as well. Why is that child walking through a park at 1 o'clock in the morning? I don't know. But I think the people who wrote this ordinance, maybe they didn't realize it was about homelessness. Maybe they honestly thought it was a way to tackle crime. But if they did, it isn't. And I think people need to read ordinances before they vote on them, and they would have seen that.
Again, the issue is safety and security, and unfortunately, there's some folks who like to hijack the issue and suggest it's about homelessness, and it really isn't. Like I said earlier, homelessness is not a crime. Homeless people in general probably don't create any more crimes than any one of us in this room creates more crime. The bottom line is, we've got to do something to give the sheriff's office and others an opportunity to figure out what's going on at any given time and space. And as I said, who needs to be walking through a park? Central Park, Bryant Park, any park, county parks. Who needs to be walking through the park at 2 o'clock in the morning? No big things are happening in the parks at 2 o'clock in the morning. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I would be arrested, but maybe if I put on a hoodie and didn't have a blazer on, So that's what I would be concerned about. I don't think this ordinance has any teeth. There weren't any time steps to it. I think we are diving headfirst into a lawsuit, and it does concern me. I think there are other solutions out there. Obviously, I said it before. We need to address it and look at it from both sides. We need accomplishment. We need things to move forward and progress here. But we need to be very smart in how we handle this homelessness issue. Thank you.
As we've all said before, or I've said before, this isn't a homeless issue, this is a crime issue. When I read the ordinance and went through the whole ordinance and read every single page of the ordinance, I was looking at it as a crime issue. Anyone that was at the meeting saw me get visibly upset. Unfortunately, during the election cycles, everyone likes to turn everything into some big hoo-ha and attacking my personal integrity and how I feel and how I've spent the last 48 years of my life working with so many organizations that actually aid the homeless. You could ask me a lot of questions and I have a lot of compassion. But Lord knows you can't have a soul in this job. You walk away because you're insulted on something and they hold it against you. But I'll tell you right now, I have a huge heart. I have a huge heart for all people, and I also believe that this is a crime issue. It needs to be tackled. The downtown is getting overrun with problems, and we need to do something about it. Thank you.
Okay. How would you grade on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being best, how effective the sheriff's department is?
I had 8. 7.
Similar question was asked at the last meeting when we got together about this city manager. I don't believe anybody or any agency is perfect and really warrants a 10. I will tell you this, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, in my humble opinion, is one of the premier law enforcement agencies here in the United States, and I stand behind them 100%. And I'll give them an 8 or a 9 because I know there's always work to do, and I know they're always working to strive to do better, to bring more technology, more tactics, and more intelligence to their job to make us all safer. So I would give them between 8 and 9. Thank you.
I would also give them a 9. I always believe there is room for improvement, but these are our finest public servants. We have our police officers, our firefighters, and our teachers. And if it was up to me, I would double their pay and make them tax exempt. That's how important I think they are to society and to our city. I think in the forum I discussed that my car was broken into twice. They were there immediately, they responded, we discussed about solutions. And so there is room for improvement. I think we can have more task force, especially with different associations, and making sure that they know what our problems are. Because without the communication, they can't do their job. So thank you very much.
Public safety is our responsibility as your electeds, first and foremost, to make sure that you're safe. I actually ran for office the very first time in 2011 because I was heated when the city commission at the time was trying to remove PPSO from the city. Yeah. And that was a scary situation. Yeah. That's what got me into this whole mess to begin with. I would give them a 9.5 because, again, there's always a little room for improvement. They're doing a lot of great things, but we're going to have to fight, be creative in our solutions too, because crime is an issue all over. It's not just our issue. But we've got to do what we can to make sure that our streets are safe and our people are protected. I have a little bit of a personal side. I was actually living in another city many years ago when I first arrived in Florida, and I was actually held at knife point and fought for my life for 35 minutes. So I take public safety very seriously, and I want to make sure you're all safe.
I too would give a 9.5, and health and safety of everyone in the city should be number one. And I too, when I first got involved, fought to keep PPSO. And I can tell you that my opponent and the other candidates that are running in this election are supported by those same people that tried to do away with PPSO.
The next speaker is Bryant. Again, a personal question to only a few of you, but I'm sure everyone can speak on it. To the Gary, Brian, and Frank, what community projects have you worked on, and what volunteer positions have you done to make you qualified for a commissioner? Oh, I'm sorry, I said I'd read these things exactly, but not to be Brian.
People have been calling me Bryant my whole life. I volunteered at a community-run bookstore in Colorado. I volunteered at a community-run radio station in Colorado. I volunteered at a community-supported farm in Colorado. I share food with homeless people on my own time, my own dime. I've organized block parties to help neighbors with sick children. I've organized block parties to help pay for funeral costs. I've organized block parties and fundraisers for people who lost people during 9/11. There's other things too. If you want to call me or email me later, I can send you a long list of things that I've volunteered my time for.
Thank you for the question, and I thank you for your service. However, I think the question is more applicable to what have you done in this community to volunteer as well. I can tell you that in the 25 years that I've been here, I've been involved in a number of projects. In fact, if you pick up one of my handouts, you'll see the entire back side is listed with volunteer projects, from the Kiwanis to Rotary Club, to the Street Painting Festival, to neighborhood cleanups. The list goes on and on and on. Just most recently on Friday, I spent 2.5 hours serving meals to the homeless. So my record of volunteerism is really, really solid, and I'm always doing something. In fact, so much so that my wife gets a little irritated that I'm out too much, and so I spend more time at home. But volunteering...
15 seconds.
I'm sorry?
15 seconds.
Volunteering is very important, and I think you really need to be able to have some sort of track record in volunteering in the community, to be able to have some kind of sense of what community you're wanting to serve and lead as an elected official.
Well, I've always been civic-minded. It was actually a few years back. Most people, when they get their New Year's resolution, it's something about themselves. to eat, go on a diet, drink less, so on. It's all about them. But I said that I want to do something for other people. So I made it a point for every month I was going to either donate my time or money to some charitable event. And the list can go on and on. This has been going on for about 3 years now. I started with Blue Delay for Literacy. My mother-in-law is terminal with MS, so I do the MS bike ride. I've done March of Dimes events. I'm constantly involved with the Surf Rider Foundation, cleaning up our beautiful beach all the time. And the list goes on and on. There are plenty of community events and charitable events that I've been involved with, and I encourage all of you to do that. And again, I've done that this month by reaching out to this homeless advocacy group this month. Thank you.
I've worked a lot here within the community on a lot of organizations, and in fact, my background is that before I even became mayor, I worked with a lot of nonprofit organizations, but locally I work with everything from battered women, domestic violence awareness, spoke to high school students at Lakewood High School just recently, a group of women about empowering them for their future in education. I'm actually creating new educational facilities for VPK and for middle school kids to be able to take part in here, to make sure that they stay out of trouble and they have a good place to study and a safe place to study. I volunteer in crime walks, I volunteer in cleanups, I volunteer everything here in our local community. And on top of that, I also serve in many other capacities on several boards, pension boards for the firefighters, the Florida Bar Grievance Committee, and I serve with a lot of nonprofit organizations from Alzheimer's Association to MS. Thank you.
Once again, I think the question was, what have you done in the city of Lakewood? And I think you see me pretty much everywhere. And I don't do it to get up here and list my accomplishments. But when you run for election, you have to kind of go back and look at what you've done. I was amazed, over 130 beach and neighborhood cleanups in the last 4 years, which is huge. And 90% of them have not been in my district. They've been in the other districts. Like I said, I spent a lot of time with bridges, reading to the children. I do it with a translator because English is not their first language, but I think it's very important. Neighborhood events. I spend a lot of time with the food pantry and feeding people in the southwest community. There's a food bank. I don't do it to list it. But I think my history speaks for itself. You see me participating in your neighborhoods.
I was chairman of civil service for 10 years before the sheriff and the county fire department came. The wife and I were instrumental in starting Paracove, one of the first 7 couples in it. I volunteered to judge for the 4-H kids for their cooking, their arts and crafts, and their public speaking. And I help all my neighbors out as much as I can when they're in need. Just a few, I feel all the stuff I do. Thank you.
In the last year, there has been 2 multi-acre purchases by businesses outside Lake Worth to expand their businesses. What ideas do you have to attract other businesses in the park to create much needed jobs in Lake Worth? Scott, you're next. You want me to reread it? In the last year, there has been 2 multi-acre purchases by businesses outside Lake Worth to expand their businesses. What ideas do you have to attract other businesses in the park to create much needed jobs in Lake Worth?
Good question, Zach. Just talking about this earlier this afternoon. If anybody's driven up about what road, you'll notice if you're going northbound, on your west side, you'll see a big parcel of land that's being dug up. That's going to be a hard drives project. Do you know what hard drives is? That's going to create many jobs, and I believe they're putting in 25,000 square feet of warehouse space to be able to rent out. And they're coming here primarily because of the efforts of this commission over the last 2 or 3 years to find the funding to rebuild Boutwell Road, to put the infrastructure into that road and the ancillary roads, to give us the technology and the proper infrastructure to be able to attract larger businesses into the city. So to answer your question, we're already well on our way to attracting businesses, and we have 3 or 4 more businesses that are ready to begin as soon as we can figure out as soon as we get that road built, we can expect more business. Additionally, we just did a ribbon cutting at the hotel, the motel at the 10th in Boutwell this past week. There's a Holiday Inn Express that's also coming in. So we have a lot of new investments.
Again, these micro jobs that are provided, they are not STEM jobs. This is money we are investing into privately held real estate over there. And again, these aren't going to be the best jobs in the world. They are jobs, that is right. But I think we could use that money to invest in our neighborhoods and attract new homeowners here that actually want to live here and make this city great, make it charming, make it unique, and we could actually get some young entrepreneurs here. Thank you.
Everyone keeps talking about the Park of Commerce. Why are we developing this land? First of all, we don't own the land in the Park of Commerce. Boutwell Road is the road that we're responsible for. Anybody who comes in and brings a project in is going to develop on their own dime, not on your dime. Okay, what we need to do is put the infrastructure in. It doesn't have sewer lines, water lines. You know, they'll need fiber optics, different types of things for businesses to have. Oh, by the way, other cities have all those things in their infrastructure. We just don't. And that's what we're trying to upgrade. So we're putting in a road that other people will be able to spend their own money and develop on. 4,800 jobs. Let me tell you something. Some of those jobs are going to be really good, well-paying jobs. And the hotels that have opened, the new extended stay hotel, a Holiday Inn, these projects are all going to bring entry-level jobs to management-level jobs. Any job in the city right now for people who need it most is a good thing.
And let me just piggyback on that. A job is better than no job. And the Park of Commerce, once again, the grant money that we're applying for, the money that's available for the Park of Commerce is not money that's available for other parts of the city. We specifically searched out a grant that would work in partnership with the county. The county is coming in and doing work on 10th Avenue that brought the brand new hotel. On Lake Avenue, you see the new housing development. Someone coming into the Park of Commerce, if they're going to invest in the Park of Commerce, they want somewhere for their people to live. We have that now on Lake Worthside. Affordable housing, which people in those jobs can live in our city. It brings commerce to our downtown, it brings a taxable base, and it brings people to the city.
Yeah, the Park of Commerce is fine, but I'd still like to see some more emphasis put over here on our infrastructure so that you can bring these people into this town and buy the houses and live here to start their businesses with nice streets like they're going to have out in the Park of Commerce.
Yeah, I think as much energy went into finding grants to help fix our roads and fix our infrastructure, that would be a lot more handy for the residents here than a Park of Commerce would be. If we are having a Park of Commerce though, I think due to the fact that we own our own electric company, we could be front runners in the green energy business and try to attract a specific business type to the Park of Commerce. And I think that would help Lake Worth, all our residents, it would provide jobs, and it would help the earth as a whole. Thank you.
Do you have a real estate license and why?
Well, I do have a real estate license. I am not active, but I will tell you, everybody sit down, anybody standing, strap in, get ready to live, okay? I'm in the fast-paced, exciting world of title insurance. So, what I actually do is I'm an agency rep for a national title insurance underwriter. And as an agency rep, it is a marketing job, a consulting job, a sales job, and a management job. And I work with a lot of small individual mom and pop companies, title insurance companies, and also very large law firms. And so it's a very exciting job. All of our title agents collect tons of revenue, collect revenue from deadbeat dads, liens, judgments, those sort of things, code enforcement liens. So it's a very important role in helping Lake Worth. It is a B2B job. I do not deal with the end consumer. So it is constantly analyzing budgets and business plans and making their jobs better and making my life better. As far as the real estate license, I've had it in the past. I've never been really active with it. So that's the answer. Time.
I'm not a realtor, nor do I play her on television. I'm actually the only candidate, I think, that's actually a property owner that's running for mayor right now. My name is on the deed to my property, I pay the taxes on my property, and I think that's very important thing to know. I think all of the opponents actually have realtor's licenses, but no, I'm not associated with realty in any way, shape, or form. Thanks.
No.
Yes, I have a real estate license, and I keep it active so that this year when I shut down the lawn service, I can go into real estate and see what I can do with it.
Shockingly, I do not have a real estate license.
You know, over the years, there's been a lot of discussion in this city about slumlords and the rentals we have in our community. And I did serve, one of the volunteer activities I served over the years was for your old code enforcement board back in the day, 15 or so years ago. And one of the things that I saw from all these folks that would come in with all these very large fines they wanted to have abated was they were all victims. They were all victims of the process. They were all victims of the city. They were all victims, and they couldn't make any money like worth running rental property. I heard that over and over and over again. I said, you know what? If you buy the property right and you treat it properly, you can make money. So I decided to get into the property management business so I could show people that you can actually buy property, manage it properly, and be profitable. And in the process, I went out and got a real estate license, primarily for the ability for me to execute leases. Because in the state of Florida, you cannot execute a lease unless you're a lawyer or you're a real estate agent. So yes, I have a real estate license. Thank you.
We'll start with Pam on this one. I hope this one goes fast. What about the partially sunken boat just south of the bridge? This is the Bryant Neighborhood Association.
That is a house, I believe I saw it. It was a house that is now on the market for sale or rent. Is that not correct?
No.
The boat is outside the house, it's like, in the back.